Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. Let's get at it. So the Carmelo Anthony, let's go ahead and call it the Carmelo Cope Caravan, is still going on. It's still going on. They've picked up new people on the Cope Caravan. I did not think that it wasn't going this far, but here we are. Let's go ahead and bring it in. We're going to be looking at a Black conservative perspective. Shout out to Greg over there. Great content creator link will be down in the description. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's go. Let's go.
So Carmelo Anthony is getting a new legal team. This will be comprised of a civil rights attorney, also a couple people from the Texas NAACP. A lot of people in that sector are banding together to overturn his conviction. And my biggest thing that I have to say about it is why?
Why? Yeah. Let me add to her why. I'm just going to ask, where were y'all before? If you're so concerned about where he is now, why were you not involved in it in the beginning? Where were y'all before? Now, maybe the parents didn't reach out to you, but everybody knew about what was going on. Why were you not a part of it then? But now you're a part of it now. All right, but I'm with her. Let's keep going.
Why?
Why?
He committed murder.
Murder.
There are consequences to murder. That's it, guys. It's that simple. There's consequences to murder. You guys are so easily influenced by the media.
Come on.
Feeding you breadcrumbs and just poking at you like, oh, racist. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to prison because he's Black. Yeah, they got another one. No.
Boy. So we got to talk about the pro-blackity-black grift that seems like it's never going to end. Okay,
I'm surprised.
Grift of all grifts, the biggest grift in this country since George Floyd, the Carmelo Anthony murder situation. Okay, Carmelo Anthony convicted of murdering Austin Metcalf in cold blood, stabbing him in the chest at a track meet over a push. Okay, it is clear-cut murder. It's not self-defense, but these pro-blackity blacks have refused to accept reality, truth, facts since day one. Okay, and these people have revealed themselves to be very ignorant, right? Gullible people that can easily be taken advantage of, and they're being taken advantage of right now by the race hustlers online, the race hustlers that are currently in bed with the Carmelo Anthony family, and they're taking the race hustle to a whole new level because apparently they have now hired a powerhouse legal team of pro-blackity black race hustlers, right? So the race hustler Avengers, which now apparently includes Ben Crump, right? Even Ben Crump is getting in on his grip.
He's in there.
Right?
He gotta be there.
Carmelo Anthony grip is so profitable that even Ben Crump, who stayed away from this, right? He's now hopping in. Okay, who knows? Maybe Al Sharpton will show up. That's how much money is involved with this grift of defending a murder. Okay, and the pro-blackity blacks are celebrating this new powerhouse legal team of pro-blackity black race hustlers who are supposed to help Carmelo with his appeal, which again is not going to work. But the pro-blackity blacks are celebrating this as if this is going to get Carmelo out of prison. It's not. Take a look.
Developments in the case of Carmelo Anthony, who was sentenced to 35 years behind bars for the murder of Austin Metcalf.
Yes, tonight a high-profile legal team announced they will be representing Anthony. NBC5's Ali Spilliards is live with the latest on this. Now, Ali, what does this mean for the next phase of this case?
Well, Brian and Brittany, this comes less than 2 weeks after Carmelo Anthony filed a pauper oath, basically a request to the court for an attorney saying he could no longer afford one. That came the same day that he filed a motion saying he intends to appeal his conviction.
I do wonder if that be the case, if these gentlemen and ladies are going to represent him in his appeal pro bono, what's the money going to? Where's the money gone? But it almost seems like a non-starter, almost like why even bring it up? But there's so many issues with money around this case that I think people should probably press pause and start asking questions like, where is the money going? Where did the money go in the past? Where's this money going now that y'all are attempting to accumulate if these people are going to do this pro bono? If they're doing it for free, what are you getting money? What are you gathering money for? But let's go.
This team of 6 prominent Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin
Where
based
y'all-
lawyers
where y'all
say
been?
they're coming together to represent Anthony pro bono. The team's headed by former Dallas County prosecutor Russell Wilson. It also includes Michael Ware, the director of the Innocence Project of Texas, and president of the Texas NAACP, Gary Bledsoe.
All of those men could have been a part of this from the beginning. Every last one of them. There was no reason that they weren't a part of it before. Now, why is this guy, the gentleman in the middle, he's a less melanated fellow. We heard that, white people, they don't think clearly. They're not good jurors. They're terrible lawyers. Why does he get to be on? Why is he not one of those people? I'm just wondering.
Despite numerous requests, the team told us they are holding off on interviews for now.
Yeah.
But they did release a statement saying, in part, we recognize the profound loss suffered by one young man's family and the uncertainty facing another. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal.
Okay. This is very interesting. This paragraph right here, our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred. If there was no legal error occurred, there is nothing that they can do. And to ensure every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously represented on appeal. Well, the problem is there's no reason to appeal if there's no problem. You have to find there's a real problem and a bona fide problem, not just a clerical error. They put a period here and they should use a comma or something of that nature. Said Ms. and it should say Mrs. That's not what we're talking about. It has to be a real bona fide problem. And I don't think there's one that they're going to find one. I truly don't think so. But this is the other part of it that people don't know is that at this current second, at this moment, none of the records have been released. The transcripts are not there. So it's going to take a little while for the transcripts to be compiled and put together and made available to the to this legal team and such of that nature. That's going to take a while. So you'll hear in a moment how long they're talking about this going on.
A couple of weeks ago, one of the attorneys now representing Anthony told me that this process takes time. He said an appeal likely wouldn't reach the 5th District Court of Appeals until the end of the year. If they have to move to the state or federal level, that could take even longer.
And that's what we like to see. Ben Crump just announced that a powerhouse legal team has come together to represent Carmelo Anthony pro bono.
What are you excited about?
These are attorneys with backgrounds in civil rights, appeals, and criminal defense. And they are all coming together to review everything from the court case to start the appeal process to try to get something done about what happened to Carmelo Anthony.
Wait, get something done about what was done to something happened about what was done to Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder. What are we talking about? But this is the problem, and we are not being serious. Carmelo Anthony needs to be in jail. That's just it. All of this other legal wrangling and phonetic pretzel twisting is a moot point. Carmelo Anthony is where he needs to be. Where's this legal team fighting for other issues, arguing for other issues and cases that matter to the living and those who are outside of jail? Just wonder.
Based on the trial. And on this powerhouse legal team is the president of Texas NAACP. Oh, we on it now. We on y'all head top now because we all sat here and watched.
But where were they before? Where were they before? If you're so happy about the president of the NAACP, where was the NAACP beforehand? Why are they now popping up?
Watch this young black boy get railroaded during his trial. Their focus right now is not going to be on the details of the incident. They are going to be focusing on whether or not Carmelo Anthony had a fair trial, and it could potentially lead to a new trial.
No,
to parts of the conviction being overturned.
That's not true.
Or a different sentence.
That's not true.
It seems like their first move is to get through the appeal process to see what gets done through the appeal process. And if that's not enough, then they will revisit trying to have a new trial or whatever it is.
You don't get to just get a new trial because you want a new trial. You just don't. That doesn't happen like that, my dude. Y'all just making up your own, but just like people made up their own narratives during the trial. They were coming out here telling you stories about videos and aliens and this, that, and the other, and magical stories. This is the exact same thing. You're making up a story that isn't true. You don't just get to do another trial because you want another trial. That doesn't happen.
I love to see it. I love to see it. They
See
thought
what?
it was donezo for our boy Carmelo Anthony.
So,
He's the-
family, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to talk about our brother Carmelo Anthony.
He's not my brother.
You know, that's still a major topic that we have to still focus on. Our good brother Carmelo, who's wrongly locked down. He is a political prisoner. We have to
What?
continue to fight for justice for our young brother. We have to let our young people know that we're not going to abandon them when the system tries to gobble them up. We have to stand on business. We have to stand up for our youths.
What about the?
We cannot be like these old Sambos out here bucking their eyes. He didn't need all that now. He the poor little Metcalf. No. We don't. Our children don't need to see all of that buck dancing.
What are you talking
As
about?
far as our brother Carmelo, new revelation, there's a new legal team, ladies and gentlemen, for Carmelo. Did y'all know that? There's a brand new legal team who's going to be working on his appeal. Did y'all hear about that? There's a whole legal team. Now, they're working pro bono. It's a whole legal team down there, and they're connected with the DNC. These are Democrat-connected law firms, which is cool. That shows the pressure of the black grassroots. We've been calling out the DNC and the NAACP, all of these people that were somewhat silent during the trial. Remember, the DNC connected people, they weren't really saying nothing during this trial. All right? Okay? They weren't really saying nothing. So now that this brother got the book thrown at him unjustly, people are looking at the DNC.
What was unjust?
Like, hey,
What was unjust? This is the part that doesn't make any sense. What was unjust? How was he railroaded? He didn't even he didn't even get up to defend himself. Now he could stab Austin Metcalf to defend himself, but he can't take the stand to explain what happened. How was he mistreated? I don't get this part. We could just say this till the cows come home, but we have to explain it.
what's up? So now they made an announcement today that he has a heavy hitting coalition specializing in civil rights, appellate law, criminal defense. They're going to be working on this thing pro bono. They got Gary Bledsoe from the Bledsoe law firm. They're a major player in civil rights law. He's currently the president of the Texas NAACP. All right. So many people believe his involvement is going to signal a direct challenge to the racial dynamics of the trial and the jury selection. I really need them to get on that. They're going to sit up there and get a white jury in this case like that and just excuse and strike out all the black jurors. That was some real janky shit they pulled.
Well, let me tell you something. It is, in fact, donezo, right?
It is, right? It is.
And you people are fools. You are fools if you believe that this is going anywhere, right? So let me explain to you guys what's happening here.
Shout out to Greg.
Carmelo, when he filed his appeal, basically said that he's broke, right? The family said we're broke, even though they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, and apparently they only spent $75,000 of those hundreds of thousands of dollars on their white attorney, Mike Howard, who the race hustlers are in the family. They're currently blaming for why is it that Carmelo is going to do 35 years in prison getting bitten over, right? Instead of blaming Carmelo or blaming themselves, right? No. They're blaming their attorney that they cheaped out on, right? This is what Dominique Alexander, the race hustling, baby shaking handler of Carmelo, admitted out loud in an interview that, they cheaped out on their initial legal defense.
I had him meet with another attorney, a black attorney. The first attorney I had to meet was black. Rain asked me what the price that black attorney was. $500,000. They weren't talking until they gave him $200,000.
What the white man say?
75.
75,000?
Yeah. And so my thing was like,
yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Now, these lawyers, right? The high profile powerhouse team of race hustlers. Apparently, they're working pro bono, right? Which means that, you know, they're not really charging, right? But that doesn't mean that the money's not flowing. Okay. The money is going to
That's the
flow
part.
through this Stand With Carmelo coalition, in which they're going to raise money for this appeal. Okay. While at the same time, Carmelo is claiming to be broke, right? Even though, again, they have fundraised hundreds of thousands of dollars. They only spent $75,000 of it on Mike Howard. Maybe they spent more. I don't know. I'm just going with what the woke minister has said publicly about how the money's been spent. But what they're doing is that they're trying to fundraise off this idea that Carmelo has a chance of winning this appeal. And I'm here to tell you that he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the appeal, right? I'm talking about like single digits, maybe even less than that. He has zero chance. As I explained yesterday, they're going to try to go to the appeals court and say the judge striking the 3 black educators, right? The 3 black women educators, the judge striking them is evidence and proof of racism, hate, and bigotry because they allowed 1 white educator on the jury pool. And the reason why that's not going to work is because the black jurors that were struck, right, the educators, they work in a K-12 environment. The white educator works at a trade school, which is fundamentally different. They're different environments. The black educators worked in an environment that actually is somewhat related to Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony. And this is exactly what the prosecution outlined, which is that, hey, that could contribute to bias, right? Them working in the same environment as these kids. We don't want them a part of the jury pool for that reason. It had nothing to do with race. It was completely race neutral. And it just so happened that, again, the white educator that was allowed to stay on the panel was allowed to stay because that person worked at a trade school, worked in an adult learning environment, which again is fundamentally different than a K-12 environment. And again, that's why this challenge.
And keep in mind, Carmelo Anthony was a high schooler. So he was in the 12th grade. Remember that. It's not just they're just picking on him. He was in the 12th grade versus a trade school, which is a totally different environment. Again, shout out to Greg.
It's going to fall apart. That's why it's going to fall apart. Okay. This is why, if you actually read this letter, they're being very careful with their language. They're saying, hey, we're going to work to see if there were any civil rights issues or whether or not there were any errors from the judge. They're not promising a new trial. And they're also not claiming that Carmelo's innocent, right? Notice how they're not saying, well, we believe that Carmelo is actually innocent and that facts and evidence during the trial were not presented in order to prove Carmelo's innocence. No, that's not what they're saying. They're simply just saying that, quote, our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal. Again, this is not focused on the facts of the case. This is focused on trying to potentially smear the judge as a racist in order to possibly get a new trial. But it's not going to happen. It's a long shot. And they know this, right? They know that this is not going to work. But again, for them, it's all about fundraising. It's all about marketing, right? They can hop on board with this new grift that is exploding across Black social media, the pro-Black spaces, where these people really believe that Carmelo Anthony is innocent because they have fallen for lies that have been spread on social media by pedophiles, right? Little pedophiles are lying on social media about what happened that day, and these people are running with it as if it's fact. So all of these lawyers involved know that Carmelo's guilty as hell. They know that this is not going to work. But they also know that the pro-Blackly blacks are too stupid to understand that it's not going to work and why it's not going to work, right? Because again, these people are very low-level thinkers, okay? If something doesn't make sense to them, if there's some quote-unquote discrepancy, then they automatically default to racism, okay? As I explained, why the black jurors, the black educators were struck. Again, these pro-blacks are too stupid to understand that. They're too stupid to understand the difference between an educator in a K-12 environment.
One of the things I'm going to say is not just that they're quote unquote stupid. I believe the real issue is that their hearts are sinful and they want a sinful resolution to this problem. They want there to be a racial issue. And that's why they clamor. That's why they find racism under every rock and behind every corner is to find racism because that's what they want. It's not a stupid issue. I believe they're actually fairly intelligent men and women. The issue is that they want racial upheaval. They want racial unrest. They want racial issues and animus to rule and reign. And so when they find an opportunity to bring race into it, they're going to insert it. So if you leave too much space, they're going to insert race into it because that's what they want. They are themselves the true racists. They themselves are the ones that are pushing and promoting what they say others are pushing and promoting. That's what the issue is.
An educator in an adult learning environment and how that could possibly contribute to bias. And that is why the Black educators were struck, and that the judge has broad discretion when it comes to allowing these things. And that, again, it's not going to be overturned because he didn't make an error, right? There's no evidence or proof that those Black jurors were struck based off racism, hate, and bigotry. But I guess you could argue that the Black non-educator potential jurors that were struck, maybe they were struck because they proved in court that they are in fact a racist, right? Maybe that's an argument that you can make because a lot of those individuals went to court and said, hey, we can't convict Carmelo because we can't send a brother to prison, right? We can't put that baby in jail. So again, I've already explained why is it that there were no Black people on the jury pool. And it has everything to do with the fact that Black people cannot be unbiased when it comes to this type of stuff. They can't be because apparently Black people are the most racist group in this country. They're so racist that they can't even get on the jury pool because they can't hide their racism. That's how obvious it is, right? Imagine being so racist that you can't hide your racism while trying to get on the jury pool, right? They're so racist and so ignorant that none of them was smart enough to say, you know what, maybe let me tone down my racism as I audition to be on this jury pool. Nah, they can't do that. They went out there and they told him straight up. They said, Carmelo's innocent. We can't throw this brother in prison. He's a baby, blah, blah, blah. They went and said everything that exposed their racism, the fact that they can't be unbiased, and that's why no Black people were on the jury. Again, it has nothing to do with the Black man being racist, and it has everything to do with Black people being racist. That's the irony here. That's the irony. So again, all the hustlers involved in this know that we're dealing with very stupid people, right?
And they also know they cook, right?
And his money will part, right? And they all know that. Because again, you got idiots like this comedian, Lil Rel, okay? Listen to this clown react to Carmelo's new high-powered race hustling legal defense team.
I'm about to get super real quick. And I will save this. You know, I'm in my, I posted what I posted not like a little bit ago about the Carmelo Anthony appeal and how he has a new legal team and they're going to help him appeal. And I posted what I posted, and the amount of energy I'm getting from people, and it's a lot of Black people calling Carmelo Anthony a murderer, and he got what he deserved.
He did.
And why are you saying he deserves a fair trial? A murderer, a murderer, a murderer, a murderer. My thing is this. If that's the energy you got about any of this, then you should have that same energy for that young man who was shot in the back by that gas station owner.
Okay.
Again, these people are so dumb. They're so dumb.
It's not a one-for-one.
They continue to bring up other cases that have absolutely nothing to do with the Carmelo case. Different state, different circumstances, just completely different case. But again, in the tiny brains of the pro-Blacks, they think that the Rick Child case and the Carmelo case are the same. So they use this in order to demonstrate that there is some hypocrisy when there's not. You're just dumb, right? You're just dumb. It's like unbelievable how stupid these people are. It explains everything. It really does. When you understand how stupid these people are on average, it explains a whole lot of the problems in the Black community. I'm telling you, this is the conclusion I've come to. It's the only logical conclusion. And the sad reality is that deep down, I know I'm right. I know that the biggest issue in the Black community right now is the fact that you have too many people who are below average intelligence, right? That the average Black person is not very smart. That's the problem. That's the issue, okay?
Yeah,
and it's not an issue that you can fix by throwing money at the problem.
So I disagree with Greg. I don't believe it's an intelligence issue. I believe, as I said before, it's a sin issue. These people are allowing their sinful desires to rule and reign, because sin makes you stupid. Let's just tell the truth. Sin does make you do dumb stuff. So the issue is really the fact that these people are sinful, and they're not allowing any room for the reality and the truth that we all saw. Carmelo Anthony is getting 35 years, and he deserves 35 years in jail. No. It's got to be something else. It's got to be some other little whatever. But no, sir, no, ma'am. They're exactly where he's exactly where he's supposed to be. And they're not making room for that. So it's not really, I don't think it's an intelligence issue. I disagree with Greg here. I don't think it's an intelligence issue. It is a sin, a heart condition issue. That's it. All right, let's go.
This is why, despite all the welfare, despite all the handouts, black people still behind. This is why you have these immigrants that come from these other countries. They come to the United States. Doesn't matter if they're already well off coming into the United States. Doesn't matter if they cross the border illegally and they ain't got nothing. They come here and they outperform black folks because it seems as if the average black person is just not very smart. And when you're not very smart, yeah, you're going to have a hard time, right? You're going to have a hard time. And that's what this is proving. That's what this is proving. And I don't want to think that. I don't want to believe that. But the reaction to all this kind of basically proves that. So it's hard for me to deny reality. I'm not going to deny reality. When reality is staring me in the face, I'm going to call it like it is. And reality is that these people are not very smart. And they just continue to demonstrate this over and over and over again. Again, it's like watching a reality show, right? It's very entertaining, but also sad at the same time.
Same energy. And I don't feel like going back and forth with people in my comments about the shit, because I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. And it's bothering me. I'm literally was just sitting in a Bible class, and I'm trying to focus.
Bible class.
But I'm so annoyed by that. And I already explained that I'm not like going back and forth with nobody in these comments. This is sick to me. I can't understand how y'all keep calling this young man a murderer, right?
Because he is.
And he was sitting there minding his business.
Now you're trying to re-adjudicate the case.
And they marched over there to bully him, right? They bullied him.
No.
Because the dude, if you know the background of those twins, they were bullies. Full-blown, old school, Biff from Back to the Future bullies. Full bullies. And then they jumped him.
Oh, they jumped him.
After he warned them. Look, I don't care what nobody said. I'm from the west side of Chicago. If I'm about to get into with somebody and they like, fam, run up on me if you want to, or I'm going to stab you.
What?
If that's the case, most likely, just from street smarts, I'm not doing that. I got shit to lose. If somebody telling me, man, like say I'm into it with somebody and they're like, man, run up on me if you want to. Click, clack. I'm going to pop you if you run up on me.
That's funny that he said that.
Then I make a decision at that point.
It's funny because let's just say that's, first of all, that's law of the jungle. Nobody abides by that out here in the normal world. Carmelo never said that. He said, don't touch me, see what happens. He never told him, hey, by the way, I got a knife and I'm going to stab you in your chest. He didn't say that. He didn't say any of that stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. This dude is just, I'm sorry, man. You're just wrong. No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Shout out to Greg. This is why I don't take these people seriously. And I want to bring this last little point in here. We're going to round these bases and end this. I want to bring this in because all these people are concerned about Carmelo Anthony. He's all this, whatever you want to say, right, wrong, or indifferent. But where are these people here? Why are they not talking about this? 8 dead, 39 hurt in Chicago weekend shootings during the Juneteenth weekend, according to Chicago Police Department. Like, why are y'all not equally upset? Matter of fact, dare I say, even more upset about this? Because I'm going to go on a limb and say that if 8 are dead, the majority of them are going to be black boys or girls, men, women. And I'm going to also go on a limb because the more likely were shootings that the person that shot was a black person. I'm going to go on a limb. At least 8 people have been killed and 39 others have been injured in the weekend shootings across Chicago during the extended Juneteenth holiday weekend as of Sunday. The ages of the victims range from 14 to 70. Shootings from Thursday. In the first shooting of the extended weekend, a 32-year-old man was standing near the alley around 5:44 p.m. at the 600 block of East 92nd Place when he was approached by an unknown vehicle. At least one person from the vehicle fired shots at the victim, hitting him multiple times in the abdomen. And this goes on all weekend. Like, where is all of the chutzpah, all of the excitement, all of the Ben Crumps and all that stuff, the legal team Avengers? Where are y'all for this? Look at all those shootings on Friday, man. That's crazy. Because it was an extended weekend. Look at that. I'll leave a link to this, man, in the description. But I'm just like, I don't take these people seriously. And I hate to say it. I think a lot of people who are not Black look at these people crashing out the Carmelo Cope caravan. A lot of these people, they look at them and laugh. They look at them in derision. They look at them like you're not serious, because this type of stuff happens every single weekend in Chicago. But you're crashing out about something that happened almost a year and a half ago in Texas. But this is all the time in Chicago. And there's not one peep from these people. Carmelo was unjustly locked up, but he killed somebody. We got 8 people dead, 39 injured, and not one peep from y'all. That's why I don't think people take them seriously. But let me know what you think. Comment down below. Give me your 2 cents. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If you don't mind, comment down below and let me know what it is that you think about the Carmelo Anthony. And do you think I may be doing a whataboutism? Am I doing a whataboutism when I bring up Chicago? Let me know. Comment down below. I really want to hear what you got to say. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.